Hey guys, it's Danielle and I am back to do a Monday marriage chat. Yay, I'm so happy to be back, you guys. I have missed sitting down talking and chatting with you guys. Y'all, life just literally gets in the way. Like, you be cruising right along and then boom, life happens. And that is my life. All the time, that is my life. I am back. I am so happy to be back, and I want to take a second to welcome all of my new family members. I have gotten tons and tons of new family members, and I just want to say to you guys, welcome to the family. I'm so happy to have you guys. So thankful that you decide to join my little family, and yay, you guys are now part of the MVPs forever. This is a cult. I'm joking, it's really not a cult, but forever. No, but seriously, thank you guys so much for hitting that subscribe button and joining my little family. If this is your first time here, welcome. Hi, my name is Danielle and I am the non-traditional mommy. And on this channel, I talk about all kinds of things. I basically just do me. I'm just free to be me on this channel. I do whatever comes to my mind. So go check out some more of my videos and then join my little family. To the rest of my non-traditional family, you guys are seriously the MVPs, because you've hung in there with me as I like go in and out of this thing. And so for real, you guys are the MVPs and I love you. Thank you for hanging in there with me. You guys, don't forget to hit the bell button if you haven't, so when I do upload, you'll know she's back, she's uploading. So hit that bell button. All right, now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's dive into this Monday's marriage chat. So this particular marriage chat was inspired by a conversation that I had with some friends of mine in regards to infidelity. So we were just discussing infidelity and how it comes about. We were talking about my last or one of my marriage chats where I talked about sex not being an obligation and just the idea of infidelity around that thought process. And so as we got to talking about infidelity, the idea of emotional intimacy came up. And I want to chat with you guys today about emotional infidelity. And if you even think that that's a real thing, if you think emotional infidelity exists, can there be emotional infidelity? Now, from a therapeutic standpoint, we know in the whole therapy world that emotional infidelity is in fact a real thing, and oftentimes is more traumatic to a marriage or relationship than sexual infidelity. So research wise, it's a real thing, but let's talk about real world wise. Do you guys think it's a real thing? Do you think it's easier to get over emotional infidelity, if you think it exists, than it is sexual infidelity? So if you're like, what the heck are you talking about, emotional infidelity versus sexual infidelity? Let's talk about that for a quick second. So sexual infidelity obviously is when your significant other, a person in a committed relationship, has sex with someone other than the person that they are in a committed relationship with. So it is very obvious. They had sex with somebody else, they cheated. It's obvious. There is no gray with sexual infidelity. You had sex, you were in a committed relationship, you cheated. It's black and white, y'all. There's no gray. Emotional infidelity, however, is gray. It's all gray, because what is emotional infidelity? How can you prove that I had emotional infidelity? So emotional infidelity is basically when a person is in a committed relationship, however, they are outside of that relationship showing emotions and feelings and sharing deep, intimate, private things with someone else. So they are sharing their emotions, their feelings, their personal and deep emotions with someone other than the person that they're in a committed relationship with. So it is very emotional related. So how can you even prove that? Like, okay, so I was texting this person. You can't call that emotional infidelity, right? Right? Or can you? So that's where all the gray with emotional infidelity comes from, because it's so hard to just say, yes, that is what it is. So how do you know that there is emotional infidelity going on? Well, with emotional infidelity, your significant other, or even you, because let's just be real, you could be the one that is right now having emotional infidelity. So how do you know what's going on? Emotional infidelity basically is when something that you should be sharing with your significant other, you're sharing with someone else. Rather it's a win or a joy or a sadness. So you get a promotion at work, you're super excited, you're feeling happy, you're feeling these emotions, and the first person you want to call is this other person and share that news with, rather than the person you're in a committed relationship with. That would be emotional infidelity. Another example is you're upset, you are sad, and something really sad happened, and you're feeling so many different emotions around that sadness. Your significant other, the person you're in a committed relationship, is asking you, what is going on? What is wrong with you? What's going on? How are you feeling? Please share with me. And instead you go out and you share these things with someone else. That would be emotional infidelity. So basically just sharing with someone else outside of your significant other. That's not to be confused with if you're just a sharer. So if you shared with your committed person and then you share with everybody else. There are some people that are just oversharers. So that's not to be confused with just sharing in general. Like I told this person, and this person. Emotional infidelity is I am sharing things with someone else that I'm not sharing with the person that I'm in a committed relationship with. When I feel sad, when I feel happy, when I feel any kind of emotion, the person that I want to talk to is somebody outside of the person that I am in a committed relationship with. So that is in a nutshell what emotional infidelity looks like and what it is. So let's talk about, is that really infidelity? Is that really infidelity? Let's look up what the Webster Dictionary of Infidelity is, you guys, so we can break this thing down. Alrighty. So, the action or state of being unfaithful to a spouse or other sexual partner. So even in this definition, they add sexual to it. So that's where it becomes kind of gray, right? Because they're like, well, it's only infidelity if you are unfaithful to someone you're in a sexual relationship with. Well, let's talk about when you're in a committed relationship but you guys have not had sex yet because you've opted to wait until you're married to have sex, but you're in this committed relationship. Does that mean that you can't have infidelity if that person sleeps with someone else? I'm gonna say no. I feel that this definition, the action or state of being unfaithful to a spouse or anyone you're in a committed relationship with. Let's just call it that. It doesn't have to be sexual, but a committed relationship. So, with that being said, being unfaithful, I think with emotions, there is this faithfulness that comes along with emotions. I mean, when I commit myself to you, I am committing myself to you to be faithful when it comes to sharing all of me, whether it's sexual, emotional, mentally, all of those things. I am committing myself to share with you and you only, or at least you first. So there is that idea of being faithful and committed to this person outside of just sexual, but also mentally and emotionally. So I feel like that's where that kind of gray comes in. Is this really infidelity? With emotional infidelity, if we say yes, it can exist, if we go with the idea of yes, emotional infidelity is a real thing and it happens where people step outside of the relationship and share emotionally and mentally with someone else, is that type of infidelity easier to get over? Is it easier to get over? What do you guys think? Do you think it's easier to say, oh, they were just talking, not a big deal, they didn't have sex? Or is it something else? Is it something bigger? So in the marriage and family therapy world, emotional infidelity tends to be a lot harder and worse than sexual infidelity. And the reason is because you are sharing something that is deep-seated and emotional. There is this emotional tie to a person. Let's think about how you even get to a committed relationship. There's emotions involved in that. You become emotionally tied to this person before you become physically tied. Okay, well, some of us become emotionally tied before physically tied. But you tend to fall in love. You know, I love you, I have these strong feelings for you, I have these strong emotions for you, and those emotions came from us having those intimate conversations, those intimate talks, those sharing those intimate emotions and things that we don't share with other people. That is what set you apart from everybody else that I've been in a relationship with, and that is what makes me want to be committed to you. So there is that draw emotionally to this other person. So when there is emotional infidelity, it seems to be bigger than sexual, because sexual, you know, some of us some people can go out and have sex with this person and that person and this person and person, and it has no emotional effect on them, apparently, allegedly, supposedly, so they say. And they can just move on. There is no tie to that person. There is no emotions involved. And so a person can have a fling, you know, type sex, like, oh, that was a fling, it meant nothing, and that be true. On the other hand, with emotions, there is that tie, there is that draw, there is that deepness that came with that feeling that is like, man, I feel something for this person. So when in a relationship, when a person is starting to emotionally separate themselves, that's where the bigger issues come into play, the bigger problem comes into play. So going back to the question, is it harder, do you guys think it's harder to get over emotional infidelity, or is it easier to get over emotional infidelity versus sexual infidelity? Oh, y'all, for me, infidelity is infidelity. Doesn't matter if it's sexual or emotional, it's all the same. It's all infidelity. And I'm gonna treat it the same. I'm gonna treat it all the same. There is this, to me, there is this disconnect. Rather you shared yourself physically with this person or you shared yourself emotionally with this person, you gave something to someone else that was supposed to be reserved just for me. It's something that only you and I were supposed to share. You can go out and have a drink with somebody, like that's no big deal, okay, whatever. But when you start sharing things that were reserved just for me, like camera died, woo, we gonna get through this, okay. You know, it's one thing to go out, have a drink with somebody, laugh it up, talk about mundane things, whatever, and come home. It's another thing to go out with someone and share intimate information with them, to share deep conversation, your dreams, your fears, your hopes, your goals, like to share things that are supposed to be reserved for me. That would be as significant of a blow for me as you having sex with another person, just as significant. And it doesn't matter if the person is male or female. For me, there could be emotional infidelity with the same sex within a heterosexual person. If you are sharing things that are supposed to be reserved for me with a man, even though you are heterosexual, that's emotional infidelity for me. Emotional infidelity, sharing with your parents or somebody else in your family, your sister, your brother, things that again are supposed to be reserved for me. Those are my feelings on it. I feel that one doesn't outrank the other. They are both equally hurtful. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you feel like you would be able to get over emotional infidelity a lot faster, or do you feel like that would be a lot harder than sexual infidelity? Because with sexual infidelity, most people are like, it was a fling, it didn't mean anything, it was a one-time thing, there was no ties, there was no emotion involved, it was just sex. And so they're able to move past that. Whereas with emotional infidelity, there's been a connection made, there's been a relationship that has been built. I know things about you that your wife or husband doesn't know. I know your fears, I know your secrets, I know your hopes, I know your dreams. Like, I can sit in the room with your wife or husband and we can literally share things about you that nobody else would know. And so for some people, that is a lot harder to get past than just, you know, sex. Whereas for some people with sexual infidelity, it's like sex is so intimate and you share a part of yourself with someone else. Like you had sex and ejaculated inside of this other woman, or you opened yourself up to this other man and they saw parts of your body that was supposed to only be reserved for my eyes, or you know, you did things with them that you wouldn't even do with me, or things that you were only supposed to do with me. And so that's a lot hurtful than you just going out and sharing, you know, that you're sad. That's a lot hurtful, so a lot more hurtful. So for some people, there are the, you know, one does outweigh the other. For me, they are equally detrimental, you know, would be equally detrimental for me. Now, does that mean that you can't move past infidelity? Absolutely not. A lot of relationships experience infidelity and come out stronger than they were prior to the infidelity. Infidelity has a way, whether it's emotional or sexual, it has a way of opening up your eyes to things in your relationship that you may have walked around with blinders on. You know, sometimes there's clear signs that there are issues in our marriages, and we can do a whole marriage chat on that, but there's clear signs that there are issues within the marriage, but we will walk around with blinders on because we don't want to deal with it, because we're tired, we're exhausted, whatever, and we just don't want to deal with it. But then infidelity happens, whether it's emotional or sexual, and that somehow magnifies the issue. All of a sudden makes the issues more real. It's like, I knew they were there, but I didn't want to deal with them. But now that this is here, it's like, oh my God. You know, and so a lot of times relationships do come out better on the other side of infidelity, and that's rather it's emotional or physical. However, on the contrary of that, with emotional infidelity, sometimes it's too late. It's too late. You know, sexual infidelity is kind of related to a cry for help, like, hey, I'm not happy. Emotional infidelity is like, I've checked out. I'm done. Sometimes the relationship cannot be repaired after emotional infidelity. Sometimes, not all the time, but a lot of times when there's emotional infidelity, it's the idea that I've checked out of this relationship and I'm seeking to find connection in another place. So there's that as well. But anyway, that was today's jump back into this Monday marriage chat topic. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear you guys' thought on this whole emotional infidelity. Do you think it's a real thing? Can it happen outside of, you know, if you're a heterosexual but you have emotional infidelity, same-sex emotional infidelity, or if you are homosexual but you have a heterosexual emotional infidelity? Do you think that that exists? Do you feel like one type of infidelity supersedes the other, or do you feel like they're equal? What are you guys' thoughts? Love to hear them. We'll keep this conversation going down in the comments. Alrighty guys, that's it. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Welcome back. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you have not done so. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.